Welcome. This is Astrology Insight Now, a weekly forecast program with astrology and other ways to help you make the most of your week and to heighten confidence for daily life. It's run by Pamela Cuccinell, that's me, the astrologer, and I invite you to find out more about my work at insightoasis.com. I look forward to your joining us every week. Please share with your friends, and here we go.
So, how are we all doing in these interesting times in which we live? Well, the moon is in the sign of Libra. And the great thing about Monday, and this is a darker moon time, basically the moon is going to hit that new moon point on Tuesday in the morning. The times I give are Eastern time, so you need to adjust depending on where you are on the planet. But basically what's going on is we are aiming towards putting in place what we can to really add to connectivity to the people we need to and want to talk to. And when I say that, one of the things that's coming to mind, and part of this new moon energy, is that we can feel like, oh, okay, there's that person, this person, government, job, blah, 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 all these pieces that I would like to converse with better or feel a sense of community greater and move in a way that's less divisive and more connected. And in this dark of moon time, what's really important is not so much that we actually have those conversations. I mean, if you can talk to government officials or your boss or someone you need to talk to, that may be helpful. But the really important thing is to aim towards having more successful connections once that new moon cycle begins. So it doesn't mean that it can't be done now, because in dark of moon, usually what we're doing is wrapping up things that happened in the last lunar cycle so we don't take them into the next, as well as shelving or putting to rest things we know we're not going to deal with or be involved with in the next lunar cycle. And we don't want them to be distractions or clutter. And then the other thing is just opening into the space of inviting in what's coming next. So the good exercises to do is to make a list of the 1 to 3 things that you really want to accomplish over this next lunar cycle. So the super prioritized stuff. You can make a longer list if you like, but that might be the wish list or if I have time list, but you don't want the longer list to basically get in the way of the things that you want to focus on most. Because if the list is too long, we can be overwhelmed or we can shortchange the things that are most important, just so we can cross this off and that off. On my website, insightoasis.com, you can stick in the search bar that you look for new moon, and it'll bring up a blog about new moon rituals or ways to best utilize the new moon. But in general, we want to use this day, Monday, to taper down and focus on what's coming next. And overall, I think it's a good day. because it's great for connecting and really having conversations that are meaningful, listening well, and even if you're just being contemplative, you can hear your own voice in a way that maybe you don't listen to as well. And when I say your voice, I don't mean the nagging voices that crop up in astrology. I often say, oh, that's Saturn, or that's Mars, or these pieces of our psyche that in Saturn's case might say, well, you should do this, and that should happen this way, and this wasn't perfect enough. I have a very strong Saturn voice in my head. And we can distill that down to early role models and authority figures. But basically, these pieces of the psyche, yes, have been informed by people we've met along the way in our life, but they are parts of us. And so to know them is a way to develop a sense of humor, dialogue, understand where they're coming from, and also take back your power so that, in my case, the example I give, okay, so Saturn's giving me a wagging finger and telling me what to do. And I just say, thank you very much. It's fine, but this is as good as it's going to get today, and I have to move on. And what we do is we take our power back, and that happens because we're understanding where these voices are coming from and why we self-program our way to do this. But we also realize that we have agency to draw lines and discriminate. Is this useful for me at this point? Or is this an old voice that's just stopping me from moving and growing? And that's a really good dark of moon exercise, because the dark of moon is that quiet space before we leap into fresh starts, new beginnings. And as we make our list of what it is we want to accomplish, there may be a lot of things, as I said, a lot of people you want to dialogue with, or groups or situations that you want to work on. But you want to distill it down to what is the most important thing for you over the next month. The moon is new exactly at 8:25 a.m. on Tuesday, the 21st Eastern Time. And it enters Scorpio several hours later at 11:42 a.m. So that void of course period, when it's in between, is really useful to sort of finish things up, declutter, chill, work on things already in motion. Once it enters Scorpio, we're in this really sweet energy, which not everybody thinks when the moon is in Scorpio, but it's sweet. It's what we call fixed water. So it's very directed. It's very focused. It's great at research. It's intense. And fire and air signs, people with a lot of that may think, oh God, everybody's really moody. It's like they're a dog with a bone. They're hanging on to things that they aren't as malleable as usual. Water earth signs may be more comfortable with this energy because they're staying with it and they're making happen whatever it is they are focused on. What's important is if you feel focused on something that's an old grievance, you want to move that. You want to shift that, because old grievances just get us stuck. And that's one of the things about fixed sign energy is we can get stuck. It's much more useful to be focused on something that is going somewhere than being stuck. So be aware of inertia. You want to be in motion with what it is you're accomplishing. That's why it's super important to know that, like Monday, what the list is of things you want to make happen. Because if you can flow with that, and the image I get from these couple of days is I'm thinking of sort of moving through mud, okay, like moving through a muddy path. And let's say when you find yourself in a place where, okay, there's a little pull on it, but there's also some give if I'm moving in a way that's not encountering a boulder or something that's getting in my way. I'm just sort of moving around it when I need to. You want to have your intuition heightened. You don't want to be moving too fast so that you're aware of what's coming up when you need to give attention to it. That's the most useful way to be plowing through something that wants to be accomplished. But if we get stuck, like this is the way I intended to go and there's no give here, then we're defeated. So we want to move when the detour happens, almost sixth sense where we need to go so we don't even encounter the detour. And that is absolutely available when we don't resist it. So Tuesday and Wednesday are really good days to be moving with this. And Thursday is the gravy day. Thursday is the day when we're in the new moon energy, even though the moon now is in Scorpio, and actually the sun entered Scorpio on the 22nd, Wednesday. And so we're in this energy of evolution and transformation, but only if we allow the process and are keen to the messages that are available to us. If we're getting stuck in old messaging or in what we feel it should be, or holding on to something that isn't available to us, then we're not going to be able to take advantage of this. And that would be a shame, because Thursday, the 23rd, is so much can be accomplished. So much growth, evolution, transformation can be accomplished on this day for those of us who are willing to allow that transformation to happen. Think about, what is it that you really want to make happen? Is it creative? Is it romance? Is it a result of the job you're doing? Someone you're trying to break through to? What is it? And if you aim for that on this day, even if you're not in direct contact with whatever it is you're aiming for, the absolute momentum of possibility can start to bring in what is necessary. So what to move into so that you feel that sluice, that momentum, and then you're in a whole other space. The big piece here is having a willingness to move past whatever has been stuck and leave it behind. It doesn't mean that it's not a part of who you are. Because here's the thing. I know one of the phrases people say a lot is let go. I, for one, am not really well, let's put it this way. To me, it's the evolution. It's part of, okay, whatever I theoretically let go of is in the soil, in the loam, in the dirt, that is part of what my roots grow from. I am not who I am without the history, situations that made me who I am. And I don't necessarily spend a lot of time there, nor can I necessarily even consciously remember some of the things that, in theory, I have let go of. But I have absolutely no doubt that compost is part of my celestial DNA and who I am. And so it's not so much that when I say stuck, it's more a knowing that as we are growing, we don't have to have the same attachment to what had been in order to be who we are and who we are becoming. And so Thursday, the 23rd, is a tremendous day to step into the wonder of possibilities and a new understanding of who we are now. Super day. The 24th Friday, very different. The moon goes void, of course, 12:14 a.m. And Sagittarius, the moon is in as of 12:19 a.m. Now, Sagittarius is fire. It's mutable. It wants to move. It wants to do stuff. And whether it's the armchair advocate sort of waving the fist, or the person out there running touchdowns, it is energy that is in motion. It's active. And so always moving with a sense of, think about fire, just how fast moves as it goes through dry leaves, this sort of quick energy that just bounces along. And that's what's happening and moving. The thing is that all the intuition I talked about earlier in the week, it can be blindsided too, because it's moving so quickly, it's no longer in touch with that kind of deeper knowing. And it can be, it can suffer from illusions where it's moving so quickly, it sees over there and over there and over there, like mirrors magnifying. Think about, wall of mirrors magnifying a fire. It looks like everything's on fire. And so we want to tone it down this weekend. We want to have a sense that we can see farther than what's being shown to us. News messages, gossip, people, things popping up, even in our own head. And it's really important to get a far view so that your perspective is enhanced. And it's not that this can't be a good and productive weekend. It's just very important that we don't run so quickly we miss what could help us understand better how we're being supported or how we might be being led. It's okay to be led if you really trust the leader, but you have to know who the leader is and also be in touch with that leader to understand, is that leader operating in a way that is without distraction or confusion. And so I think one of the most valuable things about this weekend is be in nature. I mean, if it's not something that's easily available to you, if there's not a park, if you can't take a walk somewhere or be somewhere where you see open sky, then give yourself some space that allows you some meditative time, some time to slow down a bit. Exercise can be a great way to do that, an exercise that is comfortable to you and your body knows what it's doing with it. So martial arts, swimming, walking, certainly, ways that you can just sort of clear out whatever may feel inordinately restless or high octane. And the other thing that's really important is make sure you check in, verify. There can be, come here or do this, or this is important, but you want to follow up. Oh, I heard from blah, blah. Is that the date? Is this the place? Is this what's happening? Because there, in all the revved up energy, there can be mixed signals and information that is not clear, like the old game of telephone, where people are sitting in a circle and it starts with whoever's it with a sentence turning to the next person saying something. And by the time it goes through the 10 people in the circle, words have been changed and it's not the same sentence as it was on the onset, which, depending on the sentence, can have very different results. Overall, Saturday is a highly productive day. It can be a fun day. I'm not saying, this is a bad weekend. I'm just saying that the more clear you are of the direction you're going and why, the better the results. And Sunday, the 26th, may be when the most bumps actually happen. So say we started something Friday afternoon, didn't do our due diligence on certain things, the revelations of where the mishaps can occur can happen on Sunday. And so the more aware we are in general over this weekend, the easier and more productive the weekend is. Overall, it can be very inspired. It can feel very high energy. We just want to make sure that communications are clear and whatever we act on impulsively is also something that is not going to boomerang back. The moon goes void, of course, at 12:42 p.m. on Sunday. When it enters Capricorn at 12:53 p.m., this sets up a very restorative afternoon evening, which actually, after what looks like a pretty high octane couple of days over the weekend, can feel very kind of a relief and good to sink into, so that we can get things in place for a productive week and also do what needs to be done to feel organized and clear-headed by the end of the weekend.
You have been listening to Astrology Insight Now. Please share with your friends, and if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so at astrologyinsightnow.com. Have a stellar week, and we hope to see you next time.